It's Pastor David. I'm here with our Thursday at 3 update, and today I want to look at our August financial report. Specifically, I want to go over a celebration and a challenge. So let's get started. I'm sharing here our financial report that we give to all of our leadership, an overview of the financial situation in broad strokes. And you'll see at the top our revenue, our pledged, which is those who make a commitment to give a certain amount in the coming year. Our unpledged is our offering plate. And then our other revenues would be things like tuition for preschool, or my child's in the dance studio, or I'm a prayer partner supporting someone financially over in Kenya. All of that other would go into this other revenues category. And so what you see through the month of August, we are within 2% of our budget on pledge giving. Yeah, that's fantastic. 766,000 out of 785,000. Thank you for being so faithful and giving and keeping your commitment to the family. It really helps us measure our health and vitality. This says to me that folks are supportive and are in and joining in and participating in the family. Our unpledged giving is actually above budget, 301,000 according versus 295,000 of our budget through August. That says new people are coming and are giving to the offering plate before they get to the place where they pledge. And so thank you for that. That's a celebration. You'll see the other revenues line is a bit off, about 11% or $242,000. And the reason that gets so far off is that that line is predicted a year in advance. For example, Enua, which only spends what it receives, but it does get reflected, predicted they would receive so much income or giving by this time of year a year ago. And if it's a bit off, it shows up in less revenue. They don't spend it if they don't get it, but it still shows up in the revenue category. The dance studio predicts how many students and how many classes it would have a year in advance. And if they don't, let's say they have one less class, it comes in as less revenue. Now, hopefully that gets reflected. The goal is to have that reflected equally in the expenses, but it does show less revenue. The bottom line, our total income was projected through the month of August at $3.441 million. And we've received $3.187 million, about $250,000 difference. Now, if you move further down, you'll see our expenses is broken up by pillars or groupings of ministries. Gracious Hosts is one of the larger pillar expense categories. It has youth ministry, children's ministry, worship ministry, all that comes under Gracious Hosts. They are underspending their budget by 5% or about $21,000. In fact, you'll see 3 out of the 4 pillars have underspent their budget. And the one pillar, Vibrant Family, which is brain fitness, the preschools and so forth, are very close. They're within 3% of their expenses, something that can easily be adjusted as we move forward in the last third of the year. Labor and administration, slightly up, unfavorable, so that you get down to the net results. You'll see that year to date through the month of August, we expected to be $216,000 in the red. Why is that? Why would we expect that? Well, because a large percentage of our income, almost 40% of our income, comes in the month of December. Yet we have to run ministries throughout the year. And so we expect coming out of the summer to be upside down as we go back and into the end of the year and replenish those reserves. What you find here is that to date, through the month of August, we've spent about $250,000 over budget when we expect to be 216, or about $33,500 difference of where we thought we would be. That represents about 1% of our budget. So to me, the celebration is that we are about 1% off of what we thought we would be when we put this together back at the end of last year. That's fantastic. That's accurate budgeting. That says that the church is continuing to move forward and that God is blessing us. And so I celebrate that with you. That's the celebration. Thanks be to God. Thank you for your faithfulness and what you're doing to help share the word of Christ, to worship and to teach children and to mentor youth and to care for and those in the hospital and in nursing homes to learn about the scriptures, to train people into jobs and support those in transitional housing, just all kinds of different ways that you continue to be in ministry through our church. The challenge is that we're coming to a time where we have the opportunity to really look at our prioritization. You may recall through most of the year, I have mentioned the fact that we received at the beginning of this year a one-time gift of $300,000 from our foundation, our own church's foundation, through the trustees. The idea was that we wanted to see and offer the same level of ministries and would seed that to see if we could grow out of that. And the challenge is that we really haven't grown out of that. We have matched what we thought we'd receive. We've not received more. And the challenge really comes when things cost more. So you have the $300,000 that we've been looking to make up. And then you've had about 15% inflation since 2019. I know, groceries cost more, gas costs more, electricity costs more. From 2019, about 15% more. And so even if we offer the same thing at the same level of 2019, we still have to add 15%. And so we have a gap at the end of the year where we're going to have to decide how we go about matching what we'd like to do, feel called to do, and what we think our resources or revenue will be. And that gap is about $450,000. Now, there's several ways to address that. One is to simply raise our income. And we certainly invite you and ask you to prayerfully consider how God might be leading you to be a part of that solution. The other way is obviously to reduce expense. And that is something that I'm guessing we'll have to do both. We'll both have to raise revenue and reduce expense. And frankly, in this setting, that often comes down to things that aren't fixed. You have to pay the electric bill. You have to pay the water bill. You may not have as many people that you engage staffing. So we have to look at some of those things. So please be in prayer. Please ask that God would speak clearly and that we'd be obedient. Bless our leaders as they go through this process, and pray that we as a family would come together in this opportunity to be stronger. God has always provided for his church what God has called his church to do. And I truly believe that. And I truly believe that we'll be stronger next year than we are this year. Good things are happening. Worship, youth, children's attendance are all up. New small groups are starting. Had over 60 people join the church this year. We've gotten back into ministries after being on hold through COVID, Jobs Partnership, Family Promise. We've continued to be effective in reaching young adults in Kenya, and just a whole slew of things that are happening. And just see God at work, even in the faithfulness of our folks to meet the budget we set out for this year. So I look forward to seeing what's in store, and I invite you to be a part of what's coming. I'm thankful for you, and I'll see you in church on Sunday.